Hi, brothers and sisters. This is John Casilag, and welcome to Pathways of Hope. Today's gospel is taken from the 9th chapter of the book of Matthew, verses 1 to 8. The day after the church celebrated the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul, disciples extraordinaire, who showed us that we have the capacity to follow Jesus, whether we are this working class peasant slash fisherman like Peter, or whether we are the learned, intellectual, or aristocratic individual like Paul. I want to encourage you to pay attention to the theme of the Gospels from now and in the coming days. And so the story goes in today's Gospel. A paralytic, said to be confined to his mat for years, is brought in by his friends. Other Gospel accounts say that they tore through the roof of the place where Jesus was teaching. They laid him in front of Jesus in what might have been an extraordinary, unusual amount of faith, driven perhaps by extraordinary amount of desperation. Jesus sees the paralytic, but instead of healing him, proclaims the forgiveness of his sins. And as usual, the temple teachers took offense with the thought that someone else outside of the God that they believed they knew would blaspheme by such a declaration. Jesus then challenges them, asking them, which is easier, to declare him forgiven or to declare him healed? And without waiting for an answer, he declares who he is by saying, and I quote, "But that you may know that the Son of Man has the power on earth to forgive sins." He goes and says to the man, and I quote, "Stand up, take up your stretcher, and go home." This man, tied to this mat for years and years and years, got up, went home. As we begin this series of readings on discipleship, which I would like to define loosely as the freely choosing and purposive following of Jesus, allow me to share the following thoughts on this beautiful gospel for today. First, never underestimate the power of extraordinary faith from ordinary friends. Those who carry this man likely experienced a lot of inconvenience or hardship in the caring of this paralytic, and they stood to gain nothing out of this transaction. This sick man more likely had no resources, no means of paying them back, and no reward would have been expected for bringing him to Jesus. It was likely that he could not even speak. And yet, there they were, bringing him through a distance that is not exactly stated in the gospel, carrying him to the crowd that was there before Jesus, bringing him before the feet of Jesus with the expectant faith that Jesus will do something for him. Second, discipleship can come in many forms, and it is hardly cornered by learned men. These friends of the paralytic showed goodness that could only come from the Spirit of the Lord, whether they understood it or not, whether they felt that they had it or not. The teachers, learned as they were, they have no monopoly of holiness. And as a matter of fact, they showed short-sightedness and evil in their hearts as they questioned what should have been a very basic characteristic of a disciple of God, which is the ability to forgive. Third, never underestimate what God can do in the darkness and direst of circumstances. While none of us can truly understand what goes on in the mind of God, our choice, brothers and sisters, driven by our belief, based on facts and not fake news, should push us to greater levels of faith. In our failing health, we still need and we are called to follow Jesus, believing that His light can shine through us, not necessarily through the healing that we seek. Hallelujah if we get healed, but an even greater hallelujah if our sickness draws us closer to Him. In our lack of resources, we still need to follow Jesus, believing that His light can shine through us, not necessarily by the abundance of wealth. Hallelujah, if we can have more so we can give even more. But an even greater hallelujah if in our lack we understand the true meaning of generosity. Today, brothers and sisters, the 30th of June, we enter into another time in our life as Filipinos. In these times of darkness, we still need to follow Jesus, believing that His light can shine through us, even with the kind of governance we might have. And somewhere in the heartache, the fear, the frustration, and even anger, Jesus calls us to love our nation and to do what we could for our motherland. We do that first by following Him. Inang bayan kong Pilipinas, ang hirap mong mahalin. Pero ikaw, katulad ko, mahal na mahal ka ng Diyos. In our freely chosen and purposive following of Jesus, let us all be that light, mga kapatid. The light that shines in the darkness and which darkness cannot and will not overcome. If you're blessed today, do like and share this page so that many more may hear about this great, great, great love of God. God bless you.